Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Hopefully, you will be fine. In Poetry 1, we are talking about the first poet, who is Chaucer. I told you that we will discuss 5 poets and their selective work. First poet is Chaucer, and from Chaucer work, we are going to talk about the Canterbury Tales, and from the Canterbury Tales, we will talk about general prologue or the prologue to Canterbury Tales. I am telling you briefly about the Canterbury Tales. The Canterbury Tales begins in April as Chaucer starts a pilgrimage from Tobard Inn to Canterbury. Tobard Inn is a place, is a hotel where all these pilgrims stay, and they decided that they will travel together and each will tell a story or 2 stories in their way. The general prologue is basically descriptive list of the 29 or 30 travelers and the introduction of their journey. In Canterbury Tale, the narrator, who is Chaucer himself, he described the list of pilgrims or the traveler and their ranks and their status. Basically, this prologue is about description of these 29 or 30 characters. The first character mentioned in this prologue is a knight or a king, and Chaucer describes its characteristics that he is a worthy man, he fought many battles and war, and he also fought the crusade. Then there is a squire or a landlord, who is the son of knight, and he is a bachelor, young bachelor, and all the qualities which a bachelor have, he has. For example, he is 20 years old man, and he has an eye for women, etc. The next one is yeoman or a farmer or a man who works at the farms. Yeoman is a servant of knight, and he is also traveling to Canterbury for the holy journey. After that, there is a religious woman who is Prayers. She is well mannered, and she wears the proper dress, and there is inscription on her brooch. The Prayers has secretary, who is also in a second nun, and there is also a male religious person who is a monk, and he also joins to the pilgrims, and he is also traveling to Canterbury. Then Geoffrey Chaucer is describing characteristic of the monk. In other words, he is criticizing the religious person that they are not doing their duties. He is saying that monk loves to hunt, and he is rebus. Rebus means fat person and masculine. And after that, there is a friar. Friar are a religious person who has abandoned or who has given up the world, and who is only preaching, who is only living for religion. But actually, the friar is not a religious person, but according to Geoffrey Chaucer, he is immoral man, and the man who cares more about money, about profit, about worldly thing, and he is not purifying the people, and he is not helping them to stay away from the sin, but he himself is a person full of sin. The next character in Prologue is a merchant from Flanders, and who has all pompous and verbose economics. He is very much talkative, and he is always talking about the business and how to get profit from the business. He is continuously talking about profits and these things and money. After that, there is another character who is a clerk. Clark, he is an Oxford student, and he is also making a pilgrims so that he can get a good job. The next character is the man of law. The man of law is a good soul or a revered person who believes that he ought to respect, for he is knowledgeable of law. He has knowledge of law, and he is, although Jeffrey Chaucer said that he is a good person, but he is showing that he is very much busy and he is doing the thing in every time, but actually he is not busy. After that, there is a Franklin. Franklin is also a assistant of the man of the law. He is also going to pilgrimage, and he is simply concerned with the pleasure of life. He is only concerned about taking food and about eating. So he has nothing to do with reading or with writing or with academia or to worship. So, in other words, this is criticism on each sect of society, each part of society, and every person that who is not actually indulged in his or her duties, but they are dishonest and they are contrary to their duties. The next one, the narrator gives the list of five guildmen of a little importance, five working people who has not so much importance. The one is weaver who weaves the clothes and other thing. The other is dyer who make colorful dress. And then there is a carpenter. Then there is tapestry maker or a person who is making basket. And there is also haberdasher or a person who is making caps. These fives are minor characters who are working class. Then there is also a cook and a shipman. Shipmen are sailor from the port or dart's mouth, and there is also a physician. So these characters are described in Prologue to Canterbury Tale one by one. To reflect the society, you can see by these characters that what type of society was in that time. About doctor, Jeffrey Chaucer says that doctor was a person of medicine, not PhD doctor, but doctor of medicine, and he practiced medicine with the help of knowledge of astronomy. So in those days, they were astronomer as well as medical doctor. The strongest willed wife of Bath. There is a town Bath. The lady of Bath is called the wife of Bath. In other words, he is depicting the woman of that society, that uh, city or that town, and he is saying that that lady is telling about her affairs and her marriage and her youthful partner and these things. In other words, you can see that Geoffrey Chaucer is criticizing the women of that society, that they are not loyal to one person, they are not loyal to their husband, they are not loyal to their society, so they are only making merry. The next character in a pilgrim is a parson or a preacher, a man of honor and kindness who remains true to the Christ and his congregation. He is praising, in other words, he is praising the preacher, that preacher is doing his work and he is faithful to religion. The next character in the prologue is a brother of parson who is a plowman, and he is also accompanied them in their journey, and he is also a good person and she also use good words.